welcome to a new Sleepscape episode. From time to time, it's common for us to revisit certain memories from our past that make us feel calm and happy. People call these time journeys nostalgia. And tonight, I'd like to take you on one of these journeys and share with you a heartwarming memory that fills me with happiness. It's evening. The descending sun glows with tones of rich ember as the day slowly gives way to the night. By now, you may wonder what we're doing in front of an old building far away from downtown. Well, I used to live here when I first moved to New York after college. Those were the most joyous and carefree days of my life. When I think about this place, the first thing that always comes to my mind is the unique unevenness of the sidewalk around the building that I carefully explored over the years. You see these slabs in various tones of sand, rose, and gray? 4 slabs exactly between the mailbox and the Johnny Pump. Let's color them. Wonderful. Don't you think that its supposed defect that eloquently complements the cracked asphalt of the roadway? Oh, it certainly does. And the bent sewer grate bars make the picture complete. Occasionally, someone timidly puts a few cones on the roadway here and there, as if signaling about the upcoming works that have never actually begun. There was a lovely lamppost with a few road signs standing on the corner of the street. I remember how this unique butter-colored light always entranced the fireflies from what it seemed the whole neighborhood. Let's turn on the rest of the lanterns. Back then, I was a young, aspiring architect, and this building grabbed my attention immediately. It was the only building in the neighborhood that had coins. I bet you don't even know what a coin is. Tap on the blocks of masonry built into the corners of the face wall. Here we go. These things are called coins. Hey, you can work as an architect now. Now, another thing that caught my attention was the wooden cornice, which was so unusual for building in New York. It was constructed this way to match the facade of the ground floor. Would you reveal its colors, please? Thank you. I'll always remember that mysterious emerald green. If I'm not mistaken, even the garbage container was painted the same color. Let's check it. Oh, yes it is. One day, Mr. Pizzorno decided to replace some of the exterior boards that had gone rotten. He bought a few wooden planks and 2 boxes of nails, and I volunteered to help him. Oh my God, what an ordeal it was. And neither of us had done any carpentry in our entire lives. We spent the whole day measuring off, cutting, splitting, fitting, over and over again. We cried, we laughed, we prayed, we swore. At the end of the day, we were so exhausted that we left the rest of the planks and the empty boxes outside. They reminded us of our unsuccessful venture for the whole week until we threw them away. Do you know what was the most striking thing about this building when I first saw it? Let's paint its walls, and you'll see it for yourself. Yes, it's this hypnotizing combination of emerald green and deep red that made the building stand out among others. This, and the graffiti of a quirky dog, of course. Sadly, the paint has chipped away in some places. Can you spot all of them? Like most buildings in Brooklyn, the walls of this one were covered with a patchwork blanket of leaflets. New leaflets seemed to appear every day, and it felt like you were scrolling a never-ending Facebook feed with new posts added regularly. Another thing that gave away the age of the building was an old wooden billboard with an ad literally painted on it. The building roof was crowned with one of the most New Yorkish things, a water tower. My apartment was on the top floor. There was nothing Hilton-ish about it, obviously, but it was the place where I always felt calm and safe. I felt like home. The only entrance was, don't laugh, through the fire ladder. However, the ladder wasn't the only tricky thing on my way home, especially in the evening. It was the bricks scattered around by the workers from the construction site nearby. Every night, they seemed to be changing their position, and it was a challenge to get up to my apartment and not trip over them. Underneath the ladder, there was a garbage bin. Sometimes I opened it on the way home at the end of the day and threw the trash from above when I was too tired and I couldn't lift a finger. Challenging, yet extremely convenient. Does any Hilton suite have this? The apartment wasn't big, yet the 4 windows always filled with enough light to make it cozy, spacious, and comfortable. Speaking of comfort, it also had aircon that technically never seemed to be working, unlike Mr. Pizzorno's. Oh, Mr. Pizzorno. What a wonderful man he was. He ran a nice cafe on the ground floor, famous for its espresso and Italian pastry. I remember its window always half hidden by an old canopy. Almost festive, I'd say, in shades of blue and white. A little faded, but shining against the dulling exterior of its surroundings. There was also a small bench underneath it. I used to enjoy my coffee sitting there and reading a newspaper on Sunday mornings. Sometimes I could spend the entire hour entranced by the ballet of the rustling leaves borne by the chilly wind. The entrance door was sunk into the wall, and I remember how people always looked for shelter there when caught off guard by the sudden rain. There was a small wooden sign above it, so old and so small that you could barely see what was on it from the other side of the street. That is why each morning, Mr. Pizzorno put a simple chalkboard sign outside with a single word written on it. I always found it too laconic for the expressive Italian Mr. Pizzorno was. I had been living here for 3 years before I got a new job in an international architecture firm and had to move to London. It's been 20 years since I left it. But I always recall with warm feelings the calmness, settled way of life, and sincerity peculiar to that unique place out of downtown. Sometimes I wish I could come back to that time, at least for one morning. Reach for the cold metal handle hidden in the shadow of the doorway, enter the cafe, exchange jokes with Mr. Pizzorno, order a cup of freshly brewed espresso, and enjoy a friendly chat underneath the old blue and white canopy. I hope you've enjoyed this nostalgic journey. Now it's time to snuggle up in bed, put everything aside, and try to revisit the most comforting and touching moment from your past that will fill your heart with warmth and calmness, and drift off into a peaceful sleep.